本节目由生动活泼制作播出。
Hello， 大家好，我是丁教，声动活泼的联合创始人，欢迎收听本期的硅谷早知道。首先想和大家说，今天又是一期英文节目。在开始之前，我想给大家提供一些参考背景。前段时间我看了 Social Dilemma， 中文名字叫做《监视资本主义，智能陷阱》这部纪录片。在这部纪录片里面，几个硅谷社交媒体公司的早期员工甚至是高管亲口讲述了社交媒体如何通过煽动人的情绪和本能来获取更多的注意力，从而获取收入，来完成这样的盈利模式的闭环。这样的模式对社会和年轻人造成的影响已经开始显现，但现在我们还无法估量它的实际影响。社交媒体平台变成了一个回声室，也就是 echo chamber。回声室效应最早是由心理学家凯斯桑斯坦提出，在一个相对封闭的环境上，一些意见相近的声音会不断的重复，并以夸张或其他扭曲的形式重复着，令处于相对封闭的环境中的大多数人认为这些扭曲的故事就是事实的全部。像是 Twitter、Google、Facebook 这样的大平台，从只提供大家交流的场所，到近年来因为政治观点、价值观的不同，采取了打压或者是偏向某一些内容的策略，在前几个月也不断被国会听证。我们之前聊过好几期相关的话题，像是第35期轮番被轰炸，美国国会要拿4大科技巨头怎么样，还有一期 bonus 叫做 Twitter 向左脸书向右，里面聊了当时特朗普政府是如何在和各大平台博弈的。 Facebook 今年年初以来，从被国会听证到7月份被 Starbucks、Coca-Cola、Verizon 等1000多个品牌联合抵制，这些品牌发起了 Stop Hate for Profit 的运动，所以 Facebook 一直处在政治风暴的核心。在第3季度的财报出来以后， Snapchat 和 Pinterest 的股票应声大涨，特别是 Snapchat 股价由疫情时候的低点 7.9 美元涨到了 43.1毛7，他们的涨幅高达了 547%。 广告主是不是从 Facebook 的广告平台转向了没有那么多政治内容的 Snapchat 或者是 Pinterest？ 疫情对什么样的社交媒体使用者产生了影响？这些人的消费习惯和购买的品类又有什么样的改变？播客为什么在过去的2年成了广告主投放的香饽饽？对于中小型企业，大家如何应对这种改变？选择什么样的广告平台投放？怎么更加有效的在社交媒体平台上面投放？这期节目我和嘉宾 Travis Levell 聊了聊上面的这些话题。 Travis 是 Enter China 的创始人， Enter China 是一个加速器，为有实体产品的初创公司提供社交媒体投放策略的课程。他自己也有10多年的 Facebook 的投放经验，帮助数十家公司从零开始做到100万级美元的销售。另外，如果你喜欢我们的节目，别忘了和朋友们分享，也可以在你收听的平台留言与我们互动。如果你用苹果播客收听，可以去苹果播客给我们的节目打分留言，这会对我们非常有帮助。好了，那下面就是我们英文节目。
欢迎来到生动活泼传媒旗下硅谷早知道第4季。这个世界因科技创新而巨变，那就请和我们一起在最前线观察科技创新所带来的变化、影响和机遇。
Q3 earnings shows that Snap and Pinterest each got a boost from advertisers shifting spending away from Facebook during the market boycott over the summer. So today we have our guest Travis Levell, co-founder and chief marketing officer of Enter China, which is an accelerator of physical product. He has coached dozens of early-stage companies from zero to their first 6 and 7 figures in sales. To talk about what does this mean to marketers and will this last? Hi, Travis. Welcome to our show.
Great to be here. Excited to talk about this stuff because, as you know, 2020 has changed a lot of stuff very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. So first of all, do you see this change throughout the summer?
Yeah, definitely. I guess you can look at this, if you want to talk about the Facebook ad boycott and just trends in the industry, it's more or less what are big companies doing and what are medium and smaller, like e-commerce companies doing, because they obviously have different strategies, right? So over the summer, right, with the Facebook ad boycott and all of that stuff going on, it was mostly big companies that were boycotting, right? And let's say that some of them really did care about the reason that they were boycotting, but then a lot of other of them were probably just jumping on the bandwagon because the boycott was pretty much anti-Trump, right? Which that's a popular thing to be right now. So it's kind of funny, but then I also think a lot of the big companies, because especially even most of the medium-sized companies that I know and myself during that time, we were trying to figure out what to do. So for a while, when, pretty much from March, April, May, June, July, there's so much uncertainty because not only did we have the COVID pandemic, we had a bunch of political tension all over the world, but especially concentrated in the US with racial tension and everything like that. So pretty much social media users have been extremely distracted for the majority of this year. So we've had to get creative on how to even keep our business staying the same. Like, not even talking about growing, just pretty much staying consistent and even making the same amount of money and not losing business because these trends have changed so much, right?
So you talk about only the big companies are kind of boycotting Facebook. So how much percentage they're taking in the whole market?
Yeah, that's really hard to say, right? Because obviously, I'd say on average, it was probably only big companies that thought it would go well with their brand or position their brand well. A lot of the, small, medium-sized companies are like, look, they're built into Facebook,
Right. Their strategy, everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like if they boycott Facebook, they boycott business
themselves
pretty much. Yeah. Right. So many people, because Facebook has become like the central platform more or less in the past few years, where it's like, look, if you want an advertising campaign, you have to go on Facebook. If you're a beginner, use Facebook. If you're a big company, use Facebook. So the reason why I think the massive percentage of the people who were boycotting ad spend on Facebook were the people that could handle it. If I were to have my company not spend ads on Facebook, I'd be saying no to more than half of the sales that I would be making in the following month or two, right?
Right. So people are changing to other platforms. Do you see those behavior as well?
Again, I would say from my perspective, it's not like we have, a perfect picture of the entire industry. From my perspective, especially like, those big bumps in Pinterest and on Snapchat, these are likely those same big brands that were willing to experiment with a new channel, because of the Facebook boycott, because it was just getting very difficult to advertise there. And there's such high competition on Facebook. So pretty much when we look at like advertising average CPMs, which is cost per mile, that's what it stands for, which means cost per 1,000 views on your ad, 1,000 impressions, right? So on the platforms where it's high competition, it's expensive. It's super expensive, right? But us marketers and entrepreneurs have figured out how to continue to spend that amount of money on, say, Facebook ads or YouTube ads or Google ads and still become profitable at the end of the day, right? So when you're looking to move to the newer platforms, the platforms that are less popular, obviously, they're all using supply and demand automated advertising algorithms, right? So there's less demand on those platforms, which means that the average cost per mile is going to be cheaper. But that also means that us as advertisers, marketers, and entrepreneurs need to figure out how to start getting more profit and making more sales from those channels for it to be worth it for us to advertise on them, right? So we've figured out how to make sales. Most marketers in the industry that are successful, well, we know how to make sales using Facebook ads. Snapchat, now, that's still mostly in the experimental realm for a majority of people. Most people have either never tried it or most people have tried it and not really cracked the code on how to make good return on investment in a short amount of time there, right?
So normally, how long you need to experiment before okay, I'll just go for it?
Yes, that's actually something that, interestingly enough, is changing a lot right now. Because I'd say with consumer behavior across like all of the industries that I've had the chance to mentor, coach, consult, launch my own products, everything all together, I'm seeing just the natural trend is that the sales cycle is becoming a lot longer. Before it used to be a lot easier to just put up an ad. Hey, I'm selling an iPhone case and I'm going to run a Facebook ad, and people click on it and they buy it. The first day they click on it, they say, oh, this is a cool iPhone case. I'm going to buy it. Now, the conversion rate on that for people to buy is pretty low. So with traffic now being so expensive on a platform
You mean on existing platforms? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
On a platform like Facebook, the traffic is so expensive that I just can't run that low converting traffic anymore. I used to be able to pay 10 to 20 USD to get 100 clicks. And if those were converting at 3% to a sale, which is reasonable, I could run with those numbers. But now I'm paying $10 to get 5 clicks. It is that massive a difference. Like Facebook isn't super public with all the data, but there have been some estimates that have shown that Facebook ad costs have, for the past decade, risen anywhere between 70 to 90% year over year. So you're looking at ad costs nearly doubling and compounding on top of each other on Facebook alone every year.
So is it a combination of the reason that it's just a pandemic and people has less money in their pocket and people are probably just putting all the money on the online marketing?
Yes. I mean, so yeah, there's a lot of factors at play here, because with the pandemic and also the recession, it's a very uneven recession. If we look back at like 2008, 2009, it's like, yes, rich people lost money. Everybody kind of lost money, right? This time, it's like, no, only poor people that were working service jobs and stuff like that lost their jobs. In fact, a lot of skilled positions, skilled roles, people like software developers are getting raises, and there's more jobs because all the online companies are absolutely booming.
The booming of secondary market, and then people probably got richer if you have stocks.
Yep, exactly. So it's like there have been so many companies. I mean, look at like Tesla, Amazon, that are just crushing it. So many of the companies that are publicly listed are absolutely doing very well right now, because a lot of stuff that I have to point out to the people that I coach when they get afraid of like, oh, what if there's not enough customers to sell to? I remind them, I'm like, look, so you take, for example, a software developer, right, that works remotely. Right. He's making just as much money as he's ever made, especially during the pandemic. What the opportunity was is now he's not spending money on gas. He's not commuting to work. He's not spending money at Starbucks every day.
It's more money to spend.
Exactly. So the people who did have money actually had a lot more expendable income, and they're sitting at home just on their computer all day, right? So there's a lot more room to be in their face with your advertisement and get them to impulse buy. So especially during the pandemic, you kind of had this quick little rush of people being like, oh, shoot, my product happens to work very well with the people who pretty much have money and are at home. And so you're making more money than ever during that time. Something that targets a completely different customer segment would be doing very terrible during that time. So that, as well as having a lot of, like the whales, the big fish, the large advertisers stop advertising on Facebook for a little while, made it really interesting. So for instance, what I saw is like late July into August for my specific industry, I was actually getting fantastic results on ads. And so what I did is actually spent 30% more on ads than I usually would, because the results were so good then.
On Facebook platform alone.
On Facebook alone. But the funny thing is, in that situation is the problem with why Facebook, Google, YouTube, pretty much all of the biggest ones are able to treat their advertisers so poorly, is because they can say, whatever, I don't need your money. The next person will come and they'll spend money. And if they don't spend money, there's another person that's going to come and spend money. The second that advertising costs drop, more people are going to come back and more people are going to keep spending money. So
it's a seller market.
Yeah. So it's like they really do have the power, like the industry's fairly monopolized at the moment, where it's like there are plenty of people that I know that are spending 6 figures a month on ads that you can't even get in touch with a human that works at Facebook, and they don't care. That they'll ban your account. They'll be like, what you did, we updated our algorithm and it wrongly banned your account, and you actually didn't break the rules, but we don't care. We're not going to give you your account back. You're spending more than $1 million a year on ads, and they won't even hire a human to review that case and say, actually, there was nothing wrong with their ads. Continue to let them spend millions of dollars a year with Facebook. They don't even go that far. They don't even do it.
So the shifting is also consists of this group of people. They're a kind of mid-spender. I don't know, is this called small or like a medium-sized marketer?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely just say like you can categorize anything that would be called like a small, medium enterprise. So SMEs, right? And then like Fortune 100 to Fortune 500 companies definitely had to have different behavior.
Right. So are these advertisers moving on to other platform? Are they more willing to try, or are they just kind of stuck?
Yeah. So I would definitely say, circling back to that topic, probably the biggest shift. So like, for example, Adidas, was one of the people that was leading the charge on the Facebook ad boycott, right? So Adidas was like, you know what, we're going to boycott Facebook because we didn't like what they did, and maybe we'll win over some favor with our customers if we make it clear that we don't like Trump, right? So they made that move. And because the big brands, they have such a long sales cycle, you know, I can see an Adidas ad today, and I may never buy another Adidas product until next year, another year from now. But they still got me, and they still make that money off of me, right? Mm-hmm. Small and medium brands don't have that luxury. You're like, I need to make my sale within the next 2 weeks. Otherwise, I can't sustain this marketing budget, and I can't keep paying salaries, etc. So probably it was the biggest companies that shifted over, because a platform like Snapchat, or if your product is mainly, you know, female focused, that market that's on Pinterest, it's worth it for you to be like, hey, I'm comfortable enough that I can just push brand awareness ads here. You know, Adidas, it's cool. Adidas, everybody can wear Adidas, whether you're 5 years old or 50 years old, right? So on Snapchat, obviously it's a younger crowd on Snapchat. Well, okay, cool. They can advertise to 16-year-olds the new shoe that they got and wait 6 or 7 months until it's time to shop for school clothes or whatever, until that customer asks their parents to buy it for them, or until a mature customer buys it for themselves. Right. So the experimentation for the bigger brands is way more worth it. And they're able to do it because they can wait that amount of time for their sales cycle to work. Right. So most of the smaller and medium-sized businesses that I know are not the ones that are really pushing to experiment with new channels right now, unless they've already seen success there before. You know, like there are plenty of small marketers. Let's assume that you have a female accessory business, you know, like you might have been doing very well on Pinterest all the time. Right. But if we're looking at mainstream shifts, I think the way I just explained it is very likely what the situation is.
So do you see from the consumer behavior, are people still as active on Facebook or Instagram like before, or they're kind of tired of this year, all the drama and political news and everything? Do you think they're like more towards like, oh, Pinterest, they're just more calm. I just want to kind of stay there for whatever information they're seeking. And then, or Snap, they're just quieter there.
I think the change, it probably comes there to canceling each other out. So you have the percentage of customers that are like, I'm completely fed up with social media. Let's say that I'm going to just delete Instagram off my phone, delete Facebook off my phone, right? So you have those people, right? But then you have a completely opposite customer persona that during these political times, during everything, they're on their Facebook feed more than anyone else ever, having more ad impressions than they ever have had before. You know, they're looking for news with their neighbors, with their friends, with their cousins, all on Facebook, all on Instagram. Send, you know, oh, did you see what Trump said yesterday? Did you see that Biden forgot what his name was yesterday? You know, you have these people that, you know, so you have some customers that have tripled their social media usage, and then you have other people who have completely stopped their social media usage. So it's probably about the same, because if a significant enough amount of people stopped using Facebook and Instagram, then we would see the supply of impressions go up, which would drive ad costs down. And that's just not what's happening.
It's not what's happening. So if different categories of products entrepreneur come to you, would you like kind of recommend different platform, or you still like recommending Facebook or Instagram as the first thing to try?
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram as the first thing to try, because for learning about your customer, it's one of the best ways to do it. So with the tools that Facebook and Instagram give you, the ability to hyper-target people, honestly, most medium-sized companies and most large companies are not onto this level of personalization yet. So we can get really good return on investment at a small scale. You know, pretty much until you're making about 6 figures a month in sales, about 100,000 USD a month in sales. You know, I consider that pretty small scale ad campaigns. We can have really good return on investment because, you know, with the Facebook, Instagram platform and ecosystem, I can say, you know, I'm going to target people that live in California, that like this surfboard brand, that like this brand of shoes, that like this grocery store, and talk to them so specifically that my product offering can be so tailored to them that it becomes very high converting, which makes it very worth it for us to advertise to them, right?
So overall, compare all the platforms, all the tools they're providing for the marketers, still Facebook and Instagram, they're kind of leading the game, right?
Yeah, I really think so. It's, you know, Google is older than them. And one of the funny things that you realize if you've been advertising on these platforms for like the length of their career, like I'm pretty sure I started trying my first ad on Facebook in like 2008, 2009, maybe 2010, around that time, so I'm like, yeah, I've seen this platform grow over the past decade. And you realize that how it was built in the beginning is pretty much the same way it continues to run. They will keep building on top of that foundation, but more or less the way that the original team that built Facebook's advertising product thought that it should go, it's still the basic architecture that they're using, which we kind of saw the same thing happen with Google when they bought DoubleClick. It's like that became the basis of all modern advertising, and Google was on top for a while. Then Facebook came and they were like, well, we have people's social info, we can do it a little better. And then that became the norm in the industry.
Right.
And honestly, I'm hoping that somebody else comes along very soon and starts doing it better than them.
You were telling me that there's a trend that people are testing out YouTube. So YouTube has been seeing a lot of growth. So is there like a product differences that you would recommend for people to go and try YouTube platform or versus others?
Yeah, so I think with Facebook alone, like so many advertisers, they're, like I mentioned earlier, they're not happy with Facebook to start with. There's no marketer that you're going to go talk to and they're like, oh, I'm so excited to log into my Facebook dashboard today. Like, I just love their user experience. Nobody ever says that, right? So everybody's already in a love-hate relationship with a platform like Facebook and Instagram because it's like, well, I can manipulate it to make my business money, but they make it incredibly difficult for me to do so. And they also treat me really bad. They'll just ban my account with no notice. So these people, it's not like we want to fight to stay on Facebook. It's like, give me 2 more excuses to stop using Facebook and try to find something else. And I'll do it because I'm not loyal to Facebook because they've been so mean to me for the past 10 years.
For the past 10 years. So have they ever been nice?
No, that's the thing. See, so the trend of the tech companies then was to honestly, they way overdid it. They were like, we can innovate new ways to go completely humanless in terms of customer support. We should be able to answer people's questions with help articles and documentation and all that stuff. And so Google was kind of the first one that started it, where it's like, even if you were, because Google, it was two-sided. You could put Google on your website to monetize and give them advertising inventory, or you could use Google to advertise your own site, right? Unless you were either making $50,000 a month with them or spending $50,000 a month with them, then you could never talk to a human from Google, right? It's always going to be, you can't call a number. You just have to look at help articles and try to figure it out on your own. Facebook took that a step further and just said, well, we're just going to try to go with you almost never talk to a human, right? More recently, they've started something where very randomly, I know people that spend more on ads that have never had a Facebook rep reach out to them and offer them support. And then I know people that spend less on ads that have a Facebook representative reach out and say, hey, I'm going to be your account manager, but it seems to be completely random in the manner that they do it. And I've talked to them before and they're completely not helpful. So if I have my account get banned, they can't help me get it back. They're like, sorry, there's nothing I can do. And they say, I understand your problem. I know. See, so like I've had an account get banned for one of my people because they said it was promoting political agendas. And the ad just had nothing to do with it. It was just a completely wrong diagnosis. The ad had zero context for political campaigns or anything like that.
So they don't even have human to review it, right? You just said it's just all algorithm based.
Exactly. They don't even have a human review it. And then they want to have some degree of customer support, I guess now. So if that happens to you, you can appeal. And pretty much all you get back is they say a human reviews it. You get back a canned response, seems like an automated message. And it says, hi, based off of looking at your account the second time, we found that it doesn't comply with our advertising policies. We will not be reinstating your account. That's it.
Wow. So even though people have to use Facebook's platform to do advertising, but they really hate them, and then it's a great opportunity for other platform to jump up to the top and then to fight with them.
It is. I mean, I think it is a fantastic opportunity. And that's kind of what we were talking about earlier. I think part of the reason why podcasts have accelerated so quickly. See, so I think one of the main reasons why podcasts have become so popular recently is actually because advertisers are craving somewhere else to push their product that's not traditional, that's not old, that's not TV, that's not radio ads, it's not anything like that. But I mean, if you talk to anyone about Facebook, Google, YouTube advertising, no marketer is ever happy with that platform. Like, they treat us terrible. So marketers are so much more willing to pay a higher price to be featured on your podcast. And then that's drawing way more people like, I want to start a podcast. I heard that somebody else over here is making a lot of money doing it, right? Because the advertisers are like, I'm spending 10 times as much on Facebook ads than I used to have to. And my business just has to be that much smarter. So now people are like, okay, fine. Like, I'll try to figure something else out. So that the earliest adopters, the most innovative, not even innovative, just people that are willing to try it. So in terms of big brands all the way down to e-commerce brands, they're like, yes, we are willing to try a new channel now because we're fed up enough with the old channels that we've been using. You know, think about it like this. How long have podcasts been around? A really long time.
Long time. It started 2005. Yeah.
Yeah. So podcasts have been around for 15 years, right? And suddenly in the past 2 years, it's like the main thing, right? It's like, oh, everybody's listening to podcasts. Is it because people hosting podcasts became more interesting than they were 3 years ago? Was it because they started putting out better content than they did 3 years ago? I don't think so. I think it became more monetizable than it did 3 years ago. So more people started doing it at a high production value and understanding their audience, right? And keeping their audience with them and figuring out how to get their advertisers results. So advertisers find it worth it to say, hey, you know, I was spending $100,000 a month on Facebook ads, but actually I found out that when I spend $10,000 a month on podcast advertisements, I see a better return on investment for that first $10,000, right? So at a small scale. So they can shift some of their marketing budget over to that new channel, right? So business of podcasting has become more lucrative now, which is why you have this flock of all these people building these audiences, because you can just get paid more for it now because Facebook, Google, YouTube, and all the other major platforms have driven up the cost of advertising so much.
Right. I think the only thing, I'm running a podcast company, it's just infrastructure on the tech front is just so lag behind compared to other platforms. So there's basically no tech, and the conversion is not like, oh, click on this and you're gonna like instantly buy it.
Which is why, obviously, I think the Spotify acquisition of the rights of the Joe Rogan, because it's like, okay, if Spotify finds out a way to build a better ad platform where you can actually track results from advertising in the middle of the podcast and create that platform for advertisers where it becomes easy for them to use and easy for the podcaster to monetize, well, then they're going to be winning big, right? So hopefully that's what comes next. But yeah, right now, the infrastructure of podcasting, as you said, is lagging behind, and there's not great solutions for these problems, right?
Right. So what else you see in the advertising tech industry? What else is new?
Pretty much, or just marketing is starting to cut it less and less. So you have to be good at making money from your marketing. That's like the skill that's starting to become way more important. So I think it's funny, Diane, you know, you've known me for a while, and I've always stayed away from the term of calling myself a marketer. I focus on growth, right?
Yeah.
Because for me, growth encompasses, okay, well, maybe the marketing's going fine, but we need to monetize better. And that's what's actually going to make this company work, right? So in that case, I'm going to focus on monetization, and, you know, the marketing can continue running. Yeah. So there's always, like I said, there's those trends of early adopters, and there's always people that most entrepreneurs, most people never hear about, that are just getting absolutely amazing results because they figured out some great models that is just years ahead of what everybody else is doing, right? So right now, the people that I see that are doing stuff like that are more or less the people that are innovating on their business model and finding out how to monetize their traffic better. Because then it's like, okay, if advertising is a spending competition right now, fine, I can spend triple the amount to get a customer than you can because my system is optimized so much better than yours.
Do you have an example, like what kind of product or like what size of the company? Do you have an example?
Yes. I mean, a lot of companies that are starting to focus on like a subscription model. So that's what I mean right now, actually supplement companies and consumable companies have done fantastic, right? Mm-hmm. Companies, and even think like in terms of companies that are attracting the most funding, you know, or some of the biggest IPOs in the past couple of years. You think of like Impossible Foods, everything like that. So consumables actually have a fantastic opportunity right now because it is easier than ever to sell subscriptions to your customers online, and they're willing to do it. You know, okay, cool. You have a drink company and I buy your drink. I like it.
Right. So it's combination of the lifetime value and versus like a branding awareness.
That's exactly it. Pretty much right now, it's like number one thing to focus on is customer lifetime value. And if you can get the lifetime value, then you can spend however much you want on advertising because you will continue to make more money off your customers, right?
Yeah.
When to kind of dig into a little bit more, when I say it's the companies, the entrepreneurs, and the advertisers that are going deeper, they're going further than everybody else to make money off of their audiences. I think a lot of that comes down to the personalization factor, because these advertising platforms give us the tools to be very personalized towards our potential customers. And most people are not using that to its full potential yet. You know, having a completely custom messaging based off of different types of your customer personas, based off of what traffic source you're getting them from, and then having customized offers for what they might like based off of how they've interacted with your brand is something that is uncharted territory probably for 90% of the market.
On the other end, just as a consumer, that's also scary if we can come down to that level of details for a marketing company to understand my behavior. On the other hand, it is feeling scary.
Yeah, I've known some marketers that will like play pranks on each other where they'll like target their friend with an ad that is speaking so specifically to them. And their friend's like, what the heck? How is this even like in my feed right now? You know, be like, hey, Travis, what are you doing today? You know, something like that.
Oh my God. Is that possible?
It's possible. Yeah, it was popular in the print on demand t-shirt industry for a while. So something like, oh, you were born in November. And so it's a shirt that's like, I was born in November. November's the best month.
Yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
You've seen those. And then they also go for like, common names. Like some people have gone as far to be like common names and zip codes, stuff like that. They advertise a shirt with that name, something in that realm of like strange precision, right? But I think the positives of that, because like you said, if it gets weird, then it's just going to start making consumers uncomfortable and it's not going to work well. So then people will stop doing it. I see kind of the final, like a good version of this is advertising platforms starting to realize, as well as advertisers starting to realize, one of the simplest fundamentals of just customer behavior is that the customers actually do want to buy products. You know, I don't not want to buy a pair of shoes. I don't not want a new shirt, right? It's just the timing of when you put it in my face. See, so I don't want to buy a new black shirt right now, but I'll probably buy a new black shirt sometime in the next 3 months. So if I see it in my Facebook feed tomorrow, I'm like, yeah, this is just the wrong time. I don't want to see this right now. Move on, right? But as advertisers and the advertising platforms start to realize that actually a lot of customers enjoy discovering new products that they like, you know, about what they are into, you know, so at the right time, the customer actually sees it as a benefit because we create such unique products for more specific customer segments. Most of the types of products that we are incubating and accelerating, right? It's like it targets a specific customer segment. It's a premium price product. You know, when we talk to the customers that come into our funnel through our advertisements, they're happy that they found us. They're like, wow, I'm so glad that you showed up in my feed that one day because I absolutely love your product. You know, they're like, this is the best product I've ever had. It's so tailored to what I like. And I'm really glad that I found you. We came across them at the right time. So even using a lot of the data that we have on people to help them discover products when they are looking for products.
So in terms of the right time, how do you determine that?
That's kind of funny because earlier you asked about like the nature of YouTube traffic, the nature of Facebook traffic, the nature of just different types of traffic, right? See, so Facebook, obviously your targeting starts with what the person is interested in, right? So I type in, you know, innovative running shoes into Google and my brand pops up and like, these are the newest shoes designed in 2020, high tech, right? That person that searched for that is way more likely to buy it because they're actually looking for it, you know? So pretty much depending on the platform, you can kind of apply the same logic to Snapchat, which is why I don't see many direct response marketers that need their ROI very quickly moving to Snapchat, because it's probably even less so than Facebook, people that are ready to buy something right away, right? It's really more brand awareness, and you're going to have to warm them up over time. You know, on Facebook, a lot of times people see my ads 3-4 times before they click on it, right? And then after they click on it, I get them to sign up for my email list. And then after 2 weeks, they finally are like, man, I've seen this product around a few times. I've read a few emails about it. I've seen it in my Facebook feed a few times. They've been retargeting me. It seems really cool. I'm finally ready to buy it. So with traffic like Facebook, I've seen myself, the people that I coach, and other people that I know that are making the most money, the most return on investment out of their ad dollars on a platform like Facebook, are the ones that realize and recognize that it's going to be a longer sales cycle than ever before, right? So with that traffic, if you have a funnel that runs like that, then great. Catching that customer at the interest stage is the right time, as long as you can figure out a way to make money off of it, right? Whereas I may run a completely different type of sales funnel if I'm doing Google search ads or YouTube search ads, right? So if I'm advertising to someone that goes to YouTube and types in how to make money, I know that they're looking for a way to make money. Right. So if I advertise my thing and say, oh, I'll sell you this $7 ebook, obviously I'm sure you've seen ads from Ty Lopez or some of those like subscription people where it's like, oh yeah, pay us $7 a month and we'll send you all the books that successful people read, right? And YouTube has been a fantastic platform for them, because you have people that are searching for that specifically. When they're searching for it, that means they're in the mood to learn about it. They're looking for it, and you're actually helping them find a solution to their problem through your product.
Yeah, so the inquiry-based ad platform, they're just probably going to generate instant revenue versus impressions like other social medias.
Where Facebook is at right now is like where Google was at in like 2007, 2008, right? Where they're like, hey, we're number one. People love us. Our advertisers are making a ton of money based off of our search ads because everybody's searching for stuff on Google. So we can put products in front of them, right? And so it was the way to advertise back then. It was like, oh, it's number one. Like if you don't know Google ads, then you're not even doing business, right? Then Facebook started coming up. But yeah, so I mean, that inquiry-based traffic has always been around ever since those days. It's just gotten less mainstream popular, because we have all of these new shiny tools with Facebook and understanding customer buying behavior and lookalike audiences. And the Facebook pixel is active everywhere. It knows everything that you do. It knows everything that you've bought. So Facebook can give me more customers that are more likely to buy my stuff, so.
Yeah. But it's sometime in the future, not instantly. It used to be instantly.
Yeah, or it used to be that the traffic was cheap enough that it was like, yeah, maybe 1 in 100 people that click on your ad is going to buy what you're selling. And that would make you enough money that you can keep advertising on it. But now it's like, oh no, there's no way I'm going to turn a profit if only 1 in 100 people that click on my ad buy something.
It's always about our eyes.
Pretty much. If you're not making money, it's not going to work. You're not going to continue spending.
So one last question. So you've been coaching physical product entrepreneurs for years. So do you see any categories that's doing especially well this year, or like do you see more or less people trying to make new product?
Yeah, definitely not anything travel related, that's for sure. That's not doing well. Yeah, I mean, a lot, still the trend continues that like personalized accessories. So, like whether it's small apparel items or even things that I can put around the house, tech accessories, those continue to do well. I will say that home goods, like candles, stuff like that, right? Just stuff for your house, because people are at home way more often. That as well as actually essentials. See, so people, the average consumer is now way more likely to buy like paper towels online than ever. Because especially in Western culture, especially America, I'd say is as far west as it gets in terms of our culture, right? It's something fun. We sit around and we say, oh, are you bored? Do you want to go to the mall? Do you want to go to Walmart? Do you want to go to Target? Right? And just walk around and be in the store and see random stuff and be like, oh, I'm actually going to buy this. Look at this great spatula. I'm going to buy it. It's cool. Right? But now since COVID, it's like you're not people are just way less, even where it is open. It's not fun to go shopping right now. You have everybody face mask. You have to wait in line to get into the store. I was trying to buy avocados the other day and trying to see which one was ripe. And I was like, oh, I feel bad if I'm touching it because, we should be more sanitary right now. Like shopping is not as fun as it was last year. So even people buying their basics in terms of like apparel, it's like, okay, cool. Maybe I'm a guy, I need some basic t-shirts. I go to Target, I'm getting groceries, I'm buying a video game. And I'm like, oh yeah, also I'm going to get some of those t-shirts and maybe that pair of shorts there too, right? Now customers are way more likely to be like, oh, I need new t-shirts. I'm going to order it online. I think at the end of the day, these trends were happening anyway. It's just that the pandemic really accelerated them. I think probably in terms of those shifts in consumer behavior, we've seen like 5 years of progress in 1 year, so regardless, more people were going to be using grocery delivery in 5 years from now than are currently today. But now just more people decided to use it sooner, right? So if you study consumer trends, you can almost always see the direction that things are going, and just knowing at what point in that life cycle that you're at can help you make smart business decisions. Obviously, everything got upended this year because, I'm expecting the trends that happened this year to probably happen sometime around 2025, but they happen now. And I was like, oh shoot, I got to change everything up very quickly in order to stay on top.
Yeah. Also, the one different interesting I thought in China, because everything is back to normal, sort of. So a lot of online brands, they are too competitive. So they're moving on to like building their brand offline, and a lot of pop-ups are happening. Because of this year, there's a lot of like outsourcing is like way down. So a lot of people who has factories, they were making product for foreign brands. They just have tons of production availability. So they're all like, what should we do? And we're not getting enough orders. So they're starting to making their own brand. And then online marketing is the competition is so fierce, and they're just like, maybe we should just compete offline and build more kind of physical product interaction with our target customers. So I've seen a lot of those happening right now.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, all the cities in China have the benefit of massive amounts of foot traffic, right? So even before COVID, right, like you and I both know that different types of businesses can exist in China that would say never exist in America. And then you also see some trends in big cities. For instance, like big corporation strategy in New York and London is quite different than in most markets where they sell, because they have that benefit of foot traffic. It's like, oh, whatever, like 100,000 people walk by the store every day. So if we put something in the window, people are going to see it. It's like having an ad, right? But yeah, I mean, I think also that trend too is now with advertising, most Westerners and people from pretty much countries where it's more expensive, I think are being naturally pushed to have to sell more expensive things. And then you also have a lot of the Chinese people where they're close to the manufacturing, get it done for cheap. Well, they're selling direct on AliExpress and Wish, right? So they're the ones that have taken over selling phone cases, small accessories. Like, I used to be able to run an offer to sell like a $10, $15 phone case and make money off of it, right? If I were to do that today, I don't think there's anybody making good money running Facebook traffic unless they have an innovative model. They're doing something else with customer lifetime value.
Like Caseify or something like that. They just like really high-end ones, yeah.
Yeah, right. And unless you're doing something special, if you're trying to sell a $10 product on Facebook ads anymore, it's not going to work. I mean, if we look at Wish.com, they've reported, I mean, again, this is something that's not super confirmed, but pretty much they've spent more than anybody ever on Facebook ads to build their platform, right? And that's just the playground for Chinese factories to sell directly to Western consumers that are willing to wait 30 days for shipping. It's funny because it's kind of like a lot of that business of selling cheaper stuff online has gone away from the Westerners, has become a opportunity for people that live in manufacturing heavy areas to sell directly online. But it's funny because that trend was starting to get hot in like 2016, 2017, 2018. And so now I think with COVID, like you said, obviously me dealing with my factories too, we're able to make better deals and everything like that because there's so much supply of factories that need to stay in business. So it is interesting to hear that like the factories are just like, hey, we're going to start our own brand. We're going to do a pop-up in the city. Hopefully enough people walk by and they buy it.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you so much, Travis. Thank you for coming on the show. Yeah, I think I learned a lot today.
Good. Yeah, no problem. Anytime. I only spent a really hard year learning a lot of these lessons for post-2020 just so I could share them with you, Diane.
Now I'm sharing with our audience.
With everybody. So hopefully some of you guys figure this out and make some good products.
Sounds good.
今天的节目就到这里。这期节目除了主播和嘉宾的努力，也感谢我们团队的迪卡普里鑫和 Luke， 他们在最短的时间内完成了节目后期制作。还感谢小爱帮忙把音频上传到所有的平台，他同时也是生小英这个账号背后的小伙伴。请大家也在您所喜爱的音频平台上订阅《硅谷早知道》新的一季，关键词是《硅谷早知道》第4季，或者帮我们点赞打分。如果觉得节目有价值，也请转发给您1-2位朋友们。也请大家继续关注我们之后的报道。